We're getting a lot of feedback from people on social media asking us, do we actually do commissions? Yes, we do. This is a platinum cluster. This is a timeless sort of classic of a sapphire center oval with diamonds going around it. I'm making the entire thing as usual from absolute scratch. My name is Jaco. Behind the camera as always is Damia. Welcome to my workshop. We're a manufacturer. We share what we do with you. I tend to start with the center part of the ring and I build it outwards. So I'm going to create a little plate where I can mount my stones and then excavate everything around that. This was 1.3 millimeters thick. I wanted to have the plate where the diamonds sit to be decent enough to be a part of the feature from a side profile, and also I wanted it to be strong enough. Once I've melted the platinum, as you can see, I'm using a crucible on the back of it, so cleaning it properly before I start rolling. I use a laser to mark the stones where they lie. It's a modern and convenience way of going about it because of the volume of work that we do. I'm cutting out an oval just about the size of the sapphire so that I can accommodate the sapphire, and then I know where to space my diamonds. Once I've shaped my sapphire's cavity where the sapphire is going to lie, I can now trace out the distance of the diamonds. I can just do this double checking by putting the little diamond next to that and the distance away from the sapphire's oval, the space around it, and I mark them. There's a little cavity between the stones. I want to use that space. I want to use that space to put little wires so that I've got something to split. So the back part of the stones have got security. So I'm going to create lines so that I can come in with a parallel phrase, add the wires. So the first set of wires I'm going to add in are going to be the ones right next to the sapphire at the back of the diamonds. I leave 4 of these claws open because the 4 that I'm referring to will be the 4 claws that hold the sapphire. So on the first one I'm using 0.78 to 0.8 millimeter wire, and I'm stepping it up to a full millimeter. In fact, I think I might have used 1.1 millimeter wire now that I think about it. The outside, I've just cut around, an oval around it, not touching those areas which I created for the diamond. This makes it easy now because I've got 2 round circles, and if I'm coming in between those circles exactly with a saw blade, and it creates a little groove where I can bring in a file and round the outside. I've got to do the scallops. I can now visually look at it and go, that's the halfway mark, and I'm creating the little grooves for the outside wires to come around. So just one more thing about this kind of thing. So if this is the rounding of the stone and I've cut the groove like this, I'll also round it towards the inside because the claws come up from the bottom, because I don't want the claws to come up and then straight up. I want them to kind of organically climb up. Remember, we're doing this in a style that's my style. I'm doing a more modern approach on this. While I'm busy with this parallel phrase, I'm now going back to those 4 corners and I'm enlarging them so that I can add the claws for the sapphire now. The next step would be the section that holds the wire, that brings the wire to the top and holds the setting. I'm making an oval tube. The size of that makes a difference to the length of the wires. So I'm going to try and keep the wires shorter than what you would usually have with a traditional ring, and the reason for that is it just gives me more strength. Now I'm going to groove out 12 spots. So once you've got your northeast, southwest, you can kind of judge where the other ones have to lie. Once we've got our marks on the actual tube, We use a parallel phrase once again. The size of the wire can also sort of measure exactly how deep you want it at this point, that they all lie the same depth and they all lie in a cavity. It's all about strength. Now I'm only working with the top and the bottom wire. That's a simple way to start. In this case, I'm bending them around, making sure that my curve is correct, and then bringing it down to the height, and then bringing those two wires and pinching it. Now that way I can study it. I can look at it from the side and make sure that the setting at the top is absolutely straight, not slightly sideways like this. Once you've got those 4 points together, you can literally just bring the other ones up. And at this point as well, make sure you solder them absolutely perfect. Go back once you've soldered and make sure that there's the whole cavity that you've created for that wire filled. I'm now making a tapered shank out of a 3mm square bar so that the shank meets up with the height of the setting. I'm going to leave the center bit about 16mm from the center outwards, make marks all the way around, and tapering the sides down. I need that thickness so I can hammer it and get it up to the point where it meets the setting. Whenever possible with platinum, we're going to try and fuse. I fuse platinum by bringing two parts together, like right up to like you would have when you solder them, and I bring a slither of a platinum piece in between that with a bit of excess to the top. The idea is that the excess melts down, meets the hot platinum, and then fuses with it. So you've got a seamless joint. I'm finding the middle mark. I'm trying to sink that setting in now, so I'm thinking in negative. I'm making my marks as wide as the tube would be, and I'm slowly estimating by looking at it and seeing what is the curvature of these claws that I need to deal with. Always go caution with a bit of caution so that I make sure that I can remove material, and I'm sticking with a little bit of a safety net so that I can do a little bit of filing and shaping to make sure that that part puzzles into that shank. I'm using a ball phrase on the shank itself because I'm bringing the wire to the shank, and the wire needs to fit into the shank itself. It means that I've got absolute rigidity on that ring. I've got the setting fitting into this shank now. I can now refine it by looking and sort of drawing with how do I want it to sweep up, do I want it to rounding, and then I can remove the setting and just cut it. By the time I solder the setting onto the shank, I've spent a lot of time at this point. I've looked at it, I've put it back in, I've made sure that my corners are rounded. So this is another thing, it's not a straight edge down, I'm rounding them ever so slightly. Everything is as it should be. My very last solder I'm putting together, and then it's time to set the stones. I've sent the customer a picture, a quick tease just to let him know, and he's very excited to come and collect the ring. We've done some special things like add 3 diamonds in the inside of the shank as well. By ordering this, he wanted to really put everything that he could into it, which is why we make them by hand. You can't do that. There is another video out there of us making clusters. If you are at the point where you want to start making clusters, or you've got one on the bench all ready to make, and you've got some questions, if what we've explained in this video doesn't have the information you're looking for, please go ahead and click on the other video. Thank you very much for all your support so far, and we will see you in the next video. Cheers.